It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. On this, what is today? Today's the 20th day of August, 2024. Coming to you we're going into one of the fjords today. And then, of course, the inside passage on our way back to get to Anchorage. Anyway, today is brought to you by MSC Cruises and Will US, the owner of Scootaround. Folks, I often say there's not a whole lot of news. I mean, there was like no news today. The main story this morning is Jimmy Buffett Day was announced. And then, of course, we got to do some weather update. That was it. I mean, all the main news sources, I mean, they were doing stuff that I had yesterday and the day before for today. So there's not a whole lot to do today. I do have several things to share with you, however, some good, some bad. Today is National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day. I can deal with that. I do like a little chocolate pie. I like a little pecan pie. Put the two together. I like that too. I haven't seen that on this ship, but we'll see. Speaking of food on this ship, last night, Princess is one of the few cruise lines that still has a surf and turf night. They call it land and sea. In the main dining room. And that was last night. It was really good too. They also had like 4 appetizers that I would love to have had. I ended up getting 3, but it was just a really good meal. Food has been exceptional on Grand Princess. Exceptional. If you're listening by the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. Or wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News and pops the fat travel guy. One thing to report on before I get to the more specific news about me, and that comes from Elizabeth on location. She was in Cannes in France yesterday, and she had the Breakfast of Champions again. That looks like a whole bottle of champagne. And then she had a spicy Thai food. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks good. And a salad. A Thai salad. So that's from Elizabeth on location in Cannes. All right, I've got to be perfectly honest, guys. I made maybe one of the biggest rookie mistakes somebody in the travel business can make on myself. Some of you know that I've been having some trouble with my feet swelling a lot. I mean, I have that problem all the time when I travel, but it was really, really bad. Painful, as a matter of fact. So I pretty much took the day yesterday and kept my feet propped up, stayed in the cabin except for eating. I took an extra diuretic, took 2. So, I had to, walk the dog every 5 minutes. But they're much better today, by the way. But while I was laying around doing nothing, I got to keep my feet propped up. I couldn't even sit at the desk and work. And I'm not comfortable in bed where I've got my feet propped up with a computer. I can't sit up against the headboard and have the computer on my lap. It doesn't work that way. I do fine in my lounger at home where I can move my legs a little bit and don't have them flat. Anyway, so I can get no work done. So I was sitting there fiddling around with the phone, which I can do when I'm laying on one side or the other, and pulled up my flights for, flying back home, and find out that my return flight is from Vancouver. We'll get off the boat in Anchorage. And I distinctly remember when I booked the flight, putting in the second, departure point, but whether or not somehow it defaulted back to a round trip flight, I don't know. I don't know if it was American Airlines' mistake or if it was my mistake. So as it turned out, I had to go through 10 kinds of, out in the middle of the ocean to get American on the line. And it wouldn't let me do it online, make the changes online. I had to call them and deal with an agent. And they charged me an outrageous amount of money to make the change. But I do have flights. Instead of leaving Thursday morning early as I was supposed to do, and on the Vancouver return flight, I'm leaving now Wednesday night and doing the red eye to Dallas, and then from Dallas to Richmond again in the afternoon. The problem with that, number one, it cost me a ton of extra money, like $400 extra to do that. And I got the credit for the original flight. They just was outrageously expensive for the flight. And I guess probably because it was done at the late moment. But anyway, so I'm booked. I just checked it this morning, and one of the things I said I must have an aisle seat, and I don't see that. I don't see my seats, any seat selections at all. So I got to call them back again today. But anyway, so that's fixed. Now here's the problem, guys. Tonight I have to have all my luggage, which means my equipment for doing the show. It goes out at midnight. I'm not going to have equipment to do a show tomorrow. I was going to do the show before we got off the ship. That's not going to work. So there's not going to be a show tomorrow. Now I may be able to do a pop-up from the Anchorage airport when I'm sending around later on in the day. But it's going to be when. If I got a decent enough signal in the airport, I don't know. But anyway, so there'll be no show tomorrow morning, and then there'll be no show Thursday morning because I'll be on an airplane. Once I get in Thursday afternoon, then I got to drive back home, so it's going to be, 6 o'clock or so before I actually get home. And after that, I'm not going to want to do a show. So there's not going to be a regularly scheduled show on Wednesday or Thursday. So get that out of the way now. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to talk about the weather here in a minute. The weather on this trip has been crazy. We've had a couple days in the mid 70s. Then yesterday was a lot of rain, but it was off and on. When it rained hard. It was foggy, but still we did the Glacier Bay thing. And that was, because I was propped up in the room, I got to, I watched it on the deck cam on the ship. So I got to at least follow along. Of course, I've been to Margaritaville Glacier 3 times, I think. So I almost knew that they had a ranger narrate the thing, and I almost knew everything she was saying, so that was pretty cool. Did get to see 4 bears, as I could see on the television in my room. Saw an eagle that flew over. Saw 2 whales breach. So that was pretty cool from the deck cam. Cold, very cold. It's when I say cold, like 50s, but 50s on the water on a ship at 18 knots. It's cold. So I haven't been going outside a whole lot. And I stayed cold inside, which obviously I got the sweatshirt on. So in my cabin, and of course I got the heat up full. I'm sure my room doesn't like that, but I'm comfortable in the cabin at least. Still, all in all, this has been an excellent trip. I have met with guest services on accessibility issues. The main problems I have with this ship are all doorway related, and a lift for the swimming pool. Other than that, it's pretty good, decent layout. Staff and crew have been just extraordinarily good. I would rate, just because of the heavy doorways, I'd knock a couple points off, but this is an 8 out of a 10 easily. Food-wise, 10 out of a 10. I mean, it's just been outstanding. And I haven't done any specialty restaurants. That's all the main dining room food. And the side things, like getting a burger and the pizza, those kind of things. Pizza wasn't a 10, but it was okay. But overall, the food's been a 10. Breakfast in the buffet is okay. They don't have Eggs Benedict in the buffet. But so the last 2 days I've been in the main dining room, and you can get the Eggs Benedict there, so that's perfectly good with me. I'm going to go there again after the show. So, all right, guys, that's. See, do I have anything else to report? Oh yeah, sure I do. Gretchen and Fred are enjoying this cruise a lot. They have done really good excursions. In Skagway, they went up on the Mendenhall Glacier. No, that was in June. What did they do in Skagway? I forget what they did in Skagway. But anyway, they've had really good excursions. The 4 of us, Gary Older Than Dirt, and Gretchen and Fred and I, got back to dinner at the same table at dinner last night, and are planning on that again tonight. But they're having a really good time. Of course, Gary and I both are just having an excellent time. So it's been a really good, fun cruise. And the weather, we've made the best of that during the day. You don't see that in Alaska ever in the summer. This late in the summer. But, it's been pretty good weather. Yeah, yesterday was crappy. Today is windy. The captain announced last night when we got out of the passage and into the Pacific Ocean again, it was going to get rough. It did. It was pretty much banging all night. I had some heavy winds, some good wave fight, so it was a little bumpy, but still, that happens. So we go into Whittier for Anchorage tomorrow. We're taking a transfer down, accessible transportation down. Actually, I think our luggage goes to the airport, and then I'll probably just stay at the airport unless this thing gets changed again today on the seating issue. I'll see about that. But then we had a hotel for a night there in Anchorage, which looks like Gary's going to be on his own now. And then he flies to Sacramento to see his kids. And of course, I'm heading back up. All right, that's it with the news, non-news portion of today's show. I'll be back with the two stories after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, so let's get the weather knocked out of the way first, even though I listed Jimmy Buffett Day as the lead story. This has been, to me, somewhat unusual for Hurricane Ernesto. It's moving rapidly now. It's moving away from Newfoundland. Dangerous beach conditions continue along the northeast U.S. coast and Atlantic Canada. It's currently located about 150 miles east-northeast of Cape Race, Newfoundland. Maximum sustained winds, folks, this far north, still 75 miles an hour. Still Category 1 hurricane strength. I know it's happened before, but I don't remember ever reporting on a hurricane north of Newfoundland. Amazing to me. Currently, it's moving to the northeast at 36 miles an hour. The pressure is still at 975. It's not coming up like it's supposed to, which means that's why it's still a hurricane. An even faster motion to the northeast or east-northeast is expected during the next couple of days on the forecast track. The center of Ernesto will move over the open North Atlantic today and tonight, continue weakening its forecast, and Ernesto should lose its tropical characteristics later today and dissipate tomorrow. Hurricane force winds still extend out for 45 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds outward 220 miles. So it's still a pretty big storm. And if I try to never talk about political things on this show, I stay away from that. I stay away from religion unless something relates specifically to the cruise industry. And then that's fair game. It doesn't matter to me whether it's right wing or left wing. I don't care. So the issue of global warming, I never talk about. And I realize there's an argument from some people that say it's a bunch of hooey, and there's other arguments that say it's really an important thing. The cruise industry, of course, is making strides to help the global warming situation. From that standpoint, I report on it, but I try never to talk about my personal feelings about it. But when I'm looking at hurricanes north of Newfoundland, and we're not even into the heart of the hurricane season yet, that the water temperature all up the East Coast and through the Canadian maritime waters has sustained a hurricane that long. Yeah. Sure, it could be cyclical, I guess, but man, to me is shocking. So, all right, so we also got to look at the Pacific, and this was for a couple days that I've seen it out there. I called it nothing. Now, Gilma is still a tropical storm. Gilma continues to battle strong wind shear. It's located about 740 miles southwest of the southern tip of Baja California. Maximum sustained winds at 15 miles an hour. It's moving west-northwest at 8. Central pressure is 1,000 and steady. At 2 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the center of Tropical Storm Gilma was moving toward the west-northwest about 8 miles an hour. This general motion is expected to continue for the next couple of days. Maximum sustained winds at 50 with higher gusts. Little change in strength is expected today. However, steady strengthening is expected to resume tonight, and Gilma is forecast to become a hurricane by Thursday. So now you're going to have a hurricane out there in the Pacific. It looks like once it reaches hurricane strength, it might bend back and start moving toward the east as opposed to moving toward the west. We're going to have to see on that one, however. Now, if you move on further east, no, that's further west, yeah. The 2 X's you see there. The red X, shower and thunderstorm activities, has changed little in organization association with an area of low pressure located well east-southeast of Hawaii. Environmental conditions appear conducive for further development, and a tropical depression is likely to form during the next day or two. The disturbance is forecast to meander slowly northward or northeastward during the next day or two, while interacting with or possibly combining with the disturbance that's the yellow X, which is located a few hundred miles to the east-northeast. The combined system is then forecast to accelerate west-northwestward into the Central Pacific Basin by tomorrow night. They're talking about 80% chance of further development in the next 48 hours and 80% chance over the next 7 days. The yellow X on its own is shower and thunderstorm activity has become a little better organized in association with the broad area of low pressure located west-southwest of the southern tip of Baja. The system is forecast to move toward the west-northwest and interact with the other system. So you put those 2 systems together with the percentages of further formation. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that storm now. Will it continue on moving westward toward Hawaii? Or is it going to bend back toward the east and head back in the general direction of, Mexico, the west coast of the U.S., Central America? Who knows? With the unlikely destination of these storms, it's getting a little hard to project them. So I feel we need to just watch and see what happens. So that's the 2 storms that we're dealing with.
Why not join me on the MSC Grandiosa cruise from Port Canaveral, Florida on February the 14th, 2026. It's 8 days and 7 nights with stops in Nassau, Ocean Key Marine Reserve, and Puerto Plata. The nice thing about this cruise, it'll be my first chance to be on the Grandiosa. That's one thing, but it's also has excellent pricing. Prices start at $588 per person, including taxes and port charges. Solo prices start at $738, or if you're solo, the package with drinks and Wi-Fi is only $1,052, including taxes and port charges. Dynamite prices on the MSC Grandiosa sailing February 14th, 2026 from Port Canaveral. Call me 434-258-9264, and we'll see you on the Grand.
All right, that's you see on the Grandiosa, February of 2026. Somebody was asking about that day before yesterday. I think they might have thought it was sooner. That is February of 2026 that the Grandiosa makes her first appearance in U.S. waters. All right, so the top story today, folks, has to do with the announcement of Jimmy Buffett Day, which is still 10 days away, on August the 30th of 2024. And for Jimmy Buffett Day, Margaritaville at Sea is doing some special stuff. I don't know if you could hear the phone ringing, but I had a phone call. Margaritaville at Sea announced special onboard activities on August 30th to celebrate Jimmy Buffett Day, honor his legacy and commitment to the community, and make a positive impact. From August 28th to September 4th, all bars on both of Margaritaville at Sea ships will serve signature drinks and special commemorative cups. $1 from each drink sold will benefit Singing for Change. The featured drinks include the Mango Sunset Margarita, Caribbean Sandbar, Land Shark Lager, Michelob Ultra, and Bud Light. Exclusive commemorative merchandise will also be available in retail outlets on both ships, with a portion of the proceeds supporting Singing for Change. On Jimmy Buffett Day and over Labor Day weekend, Margaritaville at Sea crew members will participate in a brand-wide Day of Service initiative, volunteering their time to support various local charitable organizations. All Margaritaville at Sea, or Margaritaville communities, properties, resorts, restaurants, destinations, hotel, and the cruises will participate in a brand-wide Day of Service on Jimmy Buffett Day and over the Labor Day weekend. Congratulations to the folks at Margaritaville at Sea. Of course, I've long said that I think they're missing the boat. Maybe they're heading to it now. I would love to see them come up with a deal where you sail on one of their ships to one of the Margaritaville at Sea Margaritaville resorts. You stay at the resorts for 3, 4, 5 days. One of the ships come back and picks you up and takes you back to, right now they're using West Palm and Tampa as the two destination ports. I just think that would be a natural. So anyway, I keep telling them they should do that, but they don't really listen to me. All right. Like I say, folks, there wasn't a whole lot of news today, other than my stupidity on booking air flights. That could have totally been my fault, or it could have been something funky with the American Airlines booking system that just did that. Who knows? But anyway, it's semi-fixed. I just don't know about seats yet, folks. I'll work on that later on today. All right, let's go see who's fussing at me over in the chat room. Brilly J says, hi, good afternoon, sir. That's one of our ex-folks. Mike's with us. Good morning, Mike. Todd's here. Todd's here early today. Hot Air Tom's with us. Says hello to everybody. Bob's here. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Bob. Joanne's here. Lovely chilly day in Pennsylvania. Yeah, well, it is. It's chilly on the ship, too. Most everybody, I haven't seen anybody wearing shorts this morning. So, and of course, yesterday, everybody was to be outside were bundled up in coats because it was, and then it rained a lot on top of it. But it was a good day yesterday. So we're doing the fjord today. and then into Anchorage, or into Whittier. It's not into Anchorage, but Whittier is one of the ports for Anchorage. There's Gretchen. Hi, Gretchen. Gretchen is one of the few people in the world that gets up as early as I do. She's up, always up. Yeah, she's been up several hours. Probably got coffee. Now, while I was working on the show 2 or 3 hours ago. There's PK Adventures back again today. Joanne asked how are my feet today. They're much better. I mean, they're still swollen, but that happens until I get home again. But they're not like it was. So I've gotten over the pain, gotten some of the swelling down. One of the things, a number of people have says you've got to cut back on your salt. The only salt I eat on a cruise is what's in the food. I never touch a salt shake. If I use anything, it might be a little pepper to spice something up a little bit. But I don't salt anything. So, now, admittedly, some cruise ship food's probably higher in sodium content than it's good for me. And of course, I know I drink the Diet Cokes, which are high in sodium. So, PK says we just got back from an Alaska cruise at the end of May. The views were so amazing when we were there. Well, this is my 5th trip, and I said after the first time I was up here, I was on Quantum of the Seas 4 years ago. 4 years ago or 3 years ago. It was right after the first season back to Alaska after the pandemic. I was on Quantum of the Seas. It was my first trip. And I said I would always do at least one Alaska trip every year. And I still plan to do that. I love it up here. I love the views. I love having a chance to see the wildlife. Do well watching. And by the way, folks, I can't wait for you guys to meet. Her name's Morgan, who has an accessible, well-watching excursion from Ketchikan. So she's going to come on the show as soon as I get home and get it set up. PK says, had a blast in Skagway, doing the Yukon suspension bridge and White Pass Railroad. I enjoyed the suspension bridge. Of course, I couldn't go across the bridge because of the steps down to it, but I got down to the platform that was, 4 or 5 steps up that you had to go down to go across the bridge. That was all accessible down to there. I enjoyed, that was a nice stop. Now, I was actually on a tour into the Yukon that ended up at Michelle Phillips' Iditarod Puppies camp. And I got to spend a couple hours playing with the puppies, that was great fun too. But the road and the White Pass Railroad follow basically the same route. So you see the same scenery pretty much that you see on the railroad, only we were in it wasn't a full-size bus, but one of the smaller tour buses. That was, when was it? That was last year. That was when I was on, let's see, last year I did Nordam and Sapphire Princess. That was when I did Sapphire Princesses as we did that one. Oh yeah, that was it. She did the luxury. Gretchen did the luxury White Pass Railroad. Enjoyed it very much. Hot Air says, great, Gretchen. Is that the one where the rock slide was a short time ago? Are you talking about the rock slide in Skagway? That was a couple years ago. That rock slide is, it's still there. They're not using that part of the dock, but they're getting around it. You don't have to tender in now, except for a couple of ships that just can't fit into the schedule. We were at a different dock than I had been in before, which was kind of interesting. There's Emily. Hello, Emily. How you doing, darling? Gretchen says, yes, our original excursion west of Skagway had taken us into Liarsville by land. That was canceled. Thank you for the photo of Gary older than dirt. Yeah, we were talking about that at dinner last night. Gretchen says, I gotta take a picture of Gary. Emily, I posted pictures of Gary before, and you just must have missed them or not paid attention to them. But he and I have done a bunch of cruises together, so I posted pictures of him. I was waitlisted on the luxury car and got it. How many wild animals did you see from the train? The train is not so much animals as it is scenery. Good, she said none. They did see a lot of bears on their bear tour, which they took out of catch game. Lots of gorgeous waterfalls and Graver too. Waterfalls are always nice. There's Gary older than dirt. Morning, y'all. I am Lee, Gary says. Everybody's saying hello. Emily says, thank you for the picture. There's Steve. Good morning, Steve, out in Kentucky. I was just reading, my bouncing baby boy is now a professor at U of L. Not a full-time professor, but he's teaching classes this semester at U of L. I'm going, oh my God, you're putting the youth of the world in my son's hands. Oy vey. No, I'm really proud of him. Of course, he's a businessman. He's not a professor. Anyway, he's good at what he does, and he's a wonderful speaker, so that's going to work out well. Gretchen says, are you setting up a date? There's Roger from Jacksonville. We were talking about you last night, Roger. I couldn't remember. I know you're going on a cruise, and I can't remember what ship you're getting ready to go on. You're traveling almost as much as I do now, it seems, which is great. Chillie didn't know if we could hear the phone. My ears are ringing. It was so loud. So it does come. I wouldn't have to, because I'm using the phone as the microphone. Roger said he just voted. Well, congratulations. Thank you for voting, Roger. Now, I will say, even though I don't talk about politics, folks, make sure you get out and vote this year. This is a very important election, whichever side you're on. I'm not saying one way or the other. Just make sure you do your duty. Let's get out and vote. Gretchen says we're starting to pack. I haven't actually put stuff in the suitcase, but I've started in that direction. I'll probably, after I have breakfast, I'll probably go on and get the majority of it done. So I'm not pressed tonight. Again, I'm not going to spend any time outside. That's just, I don't like the cold. So it's cold and damp, and I don't want to get sick here when I'm going to go spend a month with Hot Air Tom. I hope those bags were chilly. I didn't catch that one time your finger got over your eye teeth and you couldn't see what you were saying. The trip went by fast, but it always does. It always does. Even though, I wiped yesterday out other than eating. I had breakfast, lovely breakfast, and then I had a superb dinner last night. I met Gary for a cocktail in the afternoon, and then we had a cocktail before dinner and several cocktails at dinner. We have the main waiter's Eduardo, and Kevin is the secondary waiter, who's also the bartender. And he remembers everybody's drink, everybody's name. This kid is really sharp. It's just been really good service. It has. Hot Air Tom says equipment doesn't get lost or we might never get another show. Well, you got to keep in mind, Hot Air Tom, I have to go as simply and lightweight as possible, which means I check the bags. I check my suitcase. I check my computer bag. So far, so good. I've never had any problem with it. It can happen one day. If it does, it does. I'll deal with it then. I always keep the phone with me. I keep the charger with me for the phone. So I'm never going to be totally without it. But, my computer goes in the bag. And it's way too much clumsiness and weight for me to carry in a chair when I've only got one hand that I can use because one hand's on the joystick. So, Roger says 49 hours until Norwegian embarkation. That's right, you're on a Norwegian ship this time. We have a disembark tour tomorrow, but we'll probably see Chillie at the Anchorage airport. It's very small. Yeah, it looks like I'll be there for a while. Any plans on the ship for today? No, I've still got to process the show. I have a couple errands to do, but I don't have anything particular planned for today. Gretchen says, yes, she has room service before 5 a.m. Jimmy Bradley's with us. Says, good morning, all. Good morning, Jimmy. Emily says hi to Steve and to PK Adventures. Gretchen says maybe a wine tasting at 2. Pete and Chillie at Good Spirits at 4:30. Maybe a culinary tour of the gallery. Yeah, I'm still not sure if this is open to everybody or if they select some people. I'm not sure on that one. It says, sound like some wonderful day. Oh, we stay busy on the ship. No, always. More glacier. Come on, Tom. Glacier viewing between 3 and 6, I think. Yeah, that's from the fjord. Thanks for the glacier pictures. They were great. It says I'm cold. your picks are amazing. I think so too. The rock side that stranded the railroad American passengers in Canada. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the one up there on the White Pass Railroad. They had that cleared and it was reopened like in 2 days or something. Yes, that rock side. I have to go back to your cut, Chillie. There's PK says hi to him. Blyersville is in Canada. Yes, that's in Yukon territory, I believe. That road must still be closed, so that's possible. Yeah, Roger's on the Norwegian Jade. I remember that once you said Norwegian, Roger, I remembered that you were going on the Jade because you had asked Cotter Tom about it. Gretchen says, "I'm glad our next cruise is on Sun Princess. No more cold for a while. I hope those errands are not off the ship today." Yeah, no, we don't get off the ship today, Cotter Tom. This is a day at, not actually at sea, but partially at sea and partially in the fjord, and then sail up to Whittier. Speaking of Gary Older Than Dirt, there's Gary Older Than Dirt. He waves hi to everybody. Have you had breakfast yet? Good. We're going shortly. All right, guys. That's actually going to wrap me up for today. So I made the most out of having absolutely no news today to get a show done. Not going to stop it on 45 minutes today on a show with nothing. All right. That's it for today, guys. Don't forget, smash that thumbs up button, please. That helps the channel out a lot. If you haven't subscribed, take this as my invitation to do so. It doesn't cost anything. That really helps the channel out. The bell notification will tell you when I go live or when a new video is posted. All right, that's it for today, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas like Gary Older Than Dirt, Gretchen and Fred and I are doing this week. Have a great day, everybody. Not sure when I'll see you. Maybe sometime tomorrow from the airport. Who knows? Got to make some phone calls today to see about that. All right. We'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great day.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.